Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Hannah Joy Selassie. Welcome to another community conversation. This one is focused on pursuing justice for our brother Jamarion Robinson. And today we are joined by his incredible mother, Monteria Robinson, who's going to be talking to us about this journey to justice. Monteria, welcome to.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to utilize your platform to share my son's story. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your strength and your courage and your leadership. You know, we met this summer on the streets, literally protesting so many injustices. But of course, with Miss Monteria Robinson's son, her king, Jamarion Robinson, this incident took place 4 years ago. And she continues to fight, continues to stay the course with this fight. So if you could just, walk us through Jamarion Robinson's story from 4 years ago.
Okay, sure. First off, I'm gonna, just share a little bit about who my son was. Jamarion Robinson, at the time of his death, he was a student athlete at Tuskegee University. He played football. He was a political science major. And I'm gonna be honest and upfront. In December of 2015, my son was diagnosed with, paranoia, schizophrenia. But who Jamarion was as a person, he was kind-hearted. He was loving. He was humorous. He was athletic. He was giving. And he was, I always say he was, because he played football from like grade school for about 4th grade all the way up to college. But he was, I think about all the sacrifices that he put in, especially playing football. He would play in 100-degree weather. He would, after the games, he would come home and soak in like ice bath waters. You follow what I'm saying?
He worked hard.
And it takes me back to that. I was like, he was so determined. He was so committed. He would, to the game of football, because he always used to say to me, well, Mama, I'm going to go pro. I can recall his first, because his freshman and sophomore year, he went to Clark Atlanta University. So I remember like that first game of the season, they played Clark Atlanta University. And so Jamarion played punt kick return as well as running back position. And so when it was, I think it was like it was the first quarter of the game. I do remember that. And when they did the punt kick return, Jamarion caught the football at the 5-yard line, and he ran it all the way down to a touchdown. I was like, oh my God, everybody was so happy. We were so excited. But he made freshman player of the year, his freshman year at Clark Atlanta University, from just their first game of the season. And so I remember always going to the football house, taking them food, and then they would see me coming. They would be like, one of his teammates would be like, oh, my girlfriend outside. Y'all come on outside and meet my girlfriend. He would be talking about me, and Jamarion would just be laughing or what have you. But I do remember after like all their home games, because I was at all of them, I never missed like any of his games except for when he went to Tuskegee. I was in Seattle, Washington working during that time. But from grade school to college, to Clark Atlanta University, his freshman and sophomore year, I was at every game, of course. But he, after each game, he will always ask one of his teammates, hey, you want to go get something to eat with? Sometimes it would just be me and him, or sometimes it would be just me and my family. We would all go get something to eat after the game. So he would always ask one of his teammates, hey, you want to go get something to eat with me and my family? And of course, they always said yes. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And so, but that was just his way, of kind of giving back. I remember after his death, his roommate from Clark Atlanta University, because they had got an apartment like their sophomore year in college. And when he came and stayed with me after Jamarion's death, he said to me, I don't know how to cook. I don't even know how to boil an egg. And I was like, well, what did you do when you and Jamarion lived together, when you guys were roommates? He said, well, Jamarion cooked every day. I went, huh?
You taught him well. He taught him well.
I was like, okay, well, Jamarion used to call me all the time and say, Mama, how do you cook this? Mama, how do you cook that? Like, he would always ask me how to cook certain things. You know what I mean? But he told me that Jamarion cooked for him and, for the both of them. I was like, well, oh, okay then. But just taking you to the date of the incident. On August the 3rd, Jamarion had texted me and said, "Hey, Mom, I complete all my paperwork for school," as well as he had texted his coach saying, he completed his paperwork for school and that he would see him on next week at football camp. But on August the 5th, Jamarion was visiting one of his friends' home in East Point, Georgia. When approximately about 1:30 p.m., her door was battle rammed open, by 17 road police officers. And there was 17 officers on the site, on the premises. But there was actually 7 that was actually in the door that battle rammed the door open. And so it's 7 that entered the apartment. So after battle ramming the door open, you hear them shout, like one time. And then, you hear them say, "Show me your hands." And soon after they said that, they immediately opened fire. Over 90 rounds were fired at my son. And to be exact, 110 shots were fired at him. That's to be exact, if you want to be exact. They came there. They did not have a search warrant to enter, which makes everything they did illegal. So after shooting, 110 shots at him, they threw flashbang grenades that landed on him, burning him. After that, someone walked up the stairs, stood over my son, and shot down into his body 5 times. Then after that, they handcuffed my son and drug him down the flight of stairs, where his body was dropped in the living room for over 8 hours. So I'm going to let you guys kind of think about that, marinate on that for a second.
And while you're saying this, I've learned quite a bit of Jamarion Robinson's story over the summer, and just listening to you share this story, every time it hurts the same way, to know that there were more than 90 rounds, like you said, approximately 110 shots fired.
It's 110 exactly. That's how many shots they fired at him. They use like AR-15. Like they're not at war with us. You follow what I'm saying? Why would you come into, like, I feel like we vote, we pay taxes, we pay their salaries. So why are you guys acting like you're at war with us? They didn't even shoot Osama bin Laden that many times.
And when you're sharing this as well, you said that there was I believe no search warrant in this whole process as well. And I mean, just you all heard this, right? The story of her son, who he is, who he was as a person, football player, cooking with his friends, always inviting people to be with his family, and just a normal 26-year-old just being himself, And so for this to happen in broad daylight, it's so unfortunate. And I know everyone on this that's tuning in, of course, sends our love to you and our deep condolences, because even 4 years later, we know it is still, so please go ahead and continue with what you're saying.
Okay, so my mother and my brothers, my aunts and uncle, they all arrived on the scene, and my mother was asking them why would they do something like this. They said, "Oh, we were looking for him from a week ago. He pointed a gun at a police officer and took off running." Based on all the facts and the evidence, there's no evidence of that ever happening, number one. Number two, they stated that my son had a shootout with them, which makes the, people, the community think, "Oh, he had a shootout with police, so he deserved to be shot and killed." Come to find out, the gun that was retrieved from the scene, number one, it did not work. Number two, it did not have my son's fingerprints on it. And number three, the bullets did not have my son's fingerprints on it as well. And with all of that being said, they stated it was a shootout. But once you watch the video, you go like, because when I first saw the video, I went, "Oh my God, they shot my son more than 20 times." And then immediately afterwards, after I buried Jamarion, that Saturday, that Monday, I was at my attorney's office. The investigator we hired an investigator, we had a forensic person, my family and I, and a ballistic person. The investigator immediately went to the scene. And once the investigator got to the scene, he just said all he could see was the bullets, that were going up the wall. They started, he said, and that's this picture right here in the middle. He said the bullets started in the 10s. It went to the 20, the holes in the wall. It went to the 20s, it went to the 30s, it went to the 40s, it went to the 50s, so on and so forth. But he said he couldn't make sense of what happened. And so he said, you know, they started knocking on the neighbor doors, right? As they started to knock on the neighbor doors, he asked one of the neighbors, hey, did you guys see what happened? And one of the neighbors went like, yes, I got it. I got it all on video, the outside footage of it. And so that's how my investigator was able to determine what happened. He said once he got the video and he watched it, he said it's like my son's voice came on to him. It said, walk up the stairs. This is where I died. Cut this carpet out. So he said he just started doing what the voice told him to do. And when he cut the carpet out, here's the bullets right here that's enlarged in the floor that my investigator retrieved. So those are the bullets that the investigator retrieved. And I'm going to even take you guys a little further. So, as time has gone on, my attorney brought in more experts. So we got a law enforcement expert, to basically, he just review all the documents from, the GBI statements to the statements that the officers gave, et cetera, et cetera. So in his report, he stated who the shooters were, right? It was one of the shooters was a Daniel Timothy Doyle. The other one was a Eric Hines. And the other one was a Christopher Hutchins. So y'all remember those names, Doyle, Hines, Hutchins. So in the report, he said none of the employing agencies conducted independent investigations of their officers as required by internal policy. And then he said Hines was the one who said he has a gun. No one else saw a gun. And Joshua Manui, who stood right beside Hines, didn't see a gun either. He said no one else saw a gun, even Joshua Mahoney, who stood right beside Hines. And he said, and then it goes on to say, they said they shot him in the chest. Then he stepped behind a wall. He then reappeared. They shot him some more. Then he reappeared again. Then Robinson fired 2 to 3 rounds at the officers. No evidence of this was later found. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. It says flashbangs was excessive and constituted a constitutional violation to someone who was not offering an identifiable imminent threat of harm to officers. Jamarion was down and not moving when flashbangs were deployed. I got one more. An officer's original incident report written on August the 8th, 2016, because remember he was killed August 5th, 2016, right? So they wrote their incident reports on August the 8th, 2016. So it says an officer's original incident report written on August 8th, 2016, all officers stated that no one never went upstairs. Bullets were recovered that indicated that someone went upstairs and shot down into Jamarion's body. Bullets retrieved were from Hines and Dole's gun. And I'm going to pause right there. I got some more for you. Remember the tasing of the college students? Remember that incident that happened like May 30th?
And for those who aren't familiar, this was during the protests in Atlanta. There was extremely use of excessive force with 2 college students, and we'll pass it back to you, Ms. Robinson.
Okay. So with that being said, the tasing of the college students, one of the officers that was involved in tasing of the college students was also involved in my son's murder, right? His name is Willie T. Sauls. He actually murdered someone in 95 and in 2012. He was involved in my son's murder in 2016. Then he was involved in tasing of the college students, which was actually May 29th. So I don't know if you all remember watching that. Did you watch that, Hannah?
Yeah.
Do you remember them? Okay, because the news was filming that live. Remember? The news was like standing right there filming it live. And you hear them say, gun, gun, gun. They said like they kept saying it repeatedly. But we can all see
there
was
were no
gun.
gun. Right.
So if they did that while cameras are filming live, imagine what happens when the cameras are off.
Mm.
And so that's one of the officers. Remember, I said the one named Daniel Timothy Doyle. He had a history of corruption such as armed robbery, false arrests, illegal searches, burglary, and intimidation of individuals. Hutchins, he had a history of DA seeking grand jury indictment for felony murder. So who's the criminal now?
Wow. And this is clearly not a isolated situation with just one of them. There's so many parallels with their behavior across the board. And so for this to happen and for them to have these backgrounds, as you said, who's really the criminal? You know, why are you going after these individuals? And like we say, it's time to prosecute the police. You know,
it's time to prosecute the police. You know, it's time that they stop covering up. You know, it's time that they stop using these false narratives. It's time that they stop hiding behind these badges. It's time that they stop being the judge, jury, and the executioner. You know, because my thing is, if a person is guilty of a crime, a person is innocent until proven guilty. It's not your job to go in there and, you know, be the judge, jury, and the executioner. That's not your job. You know, if my son was guilty, no matter, because I don't care who it was, whether it was my son, somebody else's son, and if they were guilty of a crime, they should see their day in court, just like Dylan Roof, just like the kid who went into school and killed 12 of his peers, and they brought him out alive and handcuffed him and laid him down on the ground. He just killed somebody. You follow what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
The way they did my son, they wouldn't even do an animal like that.
No. They wouldn't. Wrong is wrong, and it's absolutely wrong, and it's atrocious. And at this point, you know, everybody needs to know this story. Everyone needs to know Jamarion Robinson's name. Everyone needs to know what he experienced, because everybody needs to be fighting for justice in this. Everyone needs to be calling for change, calling for the prosecution of these officers who killed him the way they did, who executed him for no reason, you know. So Ms. Robinson, over the years, I know you've been fighting for justice, and it looks like in the form of phone calls, petitions, being on the streets. You're literally on the streets. You know,
on the streets.
Walk us through everything you've sort of been doing to fight for justice.
I've been, and you know what? I feel like I've been being patient. You know, I've been, I guess, playing their game. But you know, like this year, I say 2020 is going to be my year. I'm not doing things their way no more. I'm done with that. You follow what I'm saying? And then when the marching and protesting, the rioting and all of that started, right before that started, the middle of May, I dropped Jamarion graphic body photos, you know, online on Facebook. And when I did that, I got over 5,000 shares. And then about 2 days later, I remember, you know, Ahmaud Arbery was killed, right? And so I then dropped it on TikTok. So I got over 80-something thousand views. And so I just kept going. So just so happened when you know, George Floyd and all that, I was in the midst of everything. So it all worked in my favor. So I was going out, you know, like almost every single day. You know, I was there was different things. There was a lot of different things going on here in Atlanta. And I was just getting on stage going, can I get that mic? And I would ask people, raise your hand if you know the story of Jamarion Robinson. You get about 2 people, maybe 3 people at the most, and there'd be a couple of 100 people. And then I'll just run it down, like what happened, because everybody had signs and posters for all these other out-of-state people. But what about all the murders that have taken place here in the state of Georgia? You know, we got Oscar Kane, we got Javis Benjamin, we got Jamarion Robinson, we got Kane Rogers, we got Alexa Christian, we got Kendrick Johnson, you got Arista Waiters, Troy Robinson, Shali Tilson, Troy Davis. I mean, I can go on and on. It's so many cases. And what a lot of people don't realize, there has been over 130 killings of Black people here in, you know, Atlanta, Georgia since 2015. It's been more than that. Like Atlanta is ranked number 10. We're number 10 with the most fatal police shootings.
Atlanta has a police problem. For everybody who doesn't know, we've been hearing this all summer.
Yes.
And it is true. It is 100% true.
Yeah. And it's like they, you know, because remember during June, you know, May and June when the protesting and rioting and all that stuff has, you know, was going on,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Keisha Lance Bottoms was coming on the news talking about, you know, how, you know, Atlanta's the Black Mecca. You know, we're Wakanda, something like that. They made that comment. I was like, no, we're not. Because every time they said something, I came back and rebutted it. I was like, no, it's not. They're killing our children. They're killing our brown and Black children here too. They're killing them here too at a high number. Mm. You know, and she was saying, oh, Chief Erica Shields was so appalled about what happened to George Floyd. I said, when she should have been appalled when Jamarion Robinson case came across her desk and she closed the incident report. He had a total of 76 bullet holes to his body. Now that's appalling. Very appalling. If you want to talk about something, if you want to cry about something, cry about the deaths of the brown and Black children that has been killed in your city, Keisha Lance Bottoms. And as you, and you know what? I said, I'm going to start holding everybody accountable, from these politicians to the community activists to our celebrities. What celebrities, you know what I mean? Have you, I think I got about 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 that I could think of, you know, off the top of my head, you know, that be out with us. You know what I mean? That be out with us. Like Miss Juicy, for instance, Miss Christian Scott. And Josh, I think Josh, what's Josh last? Josh Powell. Powell, yes. Josh has been sharing the story. It seems like I'm missing somebody else, but I'm sorry if I, you know, and Jay Morrison and Ernestine Morrison, you know, they have been helping me share my story, but really that's about it. But all the other celebrities, they know me. Like when you think of Atlanta, what celebrities do you think of? Like when you think a list, huh? There's a lot. They all know my story. They all know it. Not one of them, not one time has said, not for any of us families. Like not for any of us has anyone said hashtag justice or showed up at any of our events for the families. This is, and to people watching this, why is that so important from your standpoint? And I know, and I think it's important. We need to get more people involved. We definitely need them using their platforms. To you, as the mother of Jamarion Robinson, what does that mean to you to have them be, you know, sharing this and on board to help share the story? Well, to me, it's important because that's how we bring awareness about what happened. That's how you kind of make national news. But I was like, you know, that's okay if they're not, you know, and it's about politics too here in Atlanta. You know, a lot of people are not going to do stuff because it's about politics. When this is a person, when this is a person. I just went to the March on Washington and we sent them, like all of us Georgia moms, we sent them all of our information for us to get the invites and things. I was the only mother out of the 12 of us or the 10 of us that always go and travel and do things together. I was the only one they didn't send it to. Why is that? Why didn't they send me the invite and the agenda to be at the march, et cetera, et cetera? They didn't even send it to me. And all of our information, it was all in the same email. You follow what I'm saying? Right. Our names, our children names, and our email addresses. It was all in the same email. So how did all the other mothers get it and I didn't get it? How is that? Because it's about politics. And you know what I said? I said, okay, so I'm done with doing things, you know, your way, their way. I'm going to start doing things my way. Since y'all want to acknowledge my son, since y'all won't say his name, I'm going to make y'all say his name. So what I've done thus far, I got 9 murals up in the city of Atlanta. So that way, every corner they turn, they're going to see my son's face. They're going to see my son's face. And then that's not it. I'm not even done. That's just the icing on the cake. You follow what I'm saying? That's not even the sprinkles. But I'm getting ready to put the sprinkles on it right now. I mean, I've had the opportunity to see some of these murals, and they, number one, are so powerful. And
you can really see Jamarion Robinson's essence captured in these, and how, you know, handsome he was and just how full of life he was. I see that when I see these murals, and they're spread out through the city. And I love that you made that point, because you don't want to say his name. You'll see his face every time you drive by this mural, every time you drive on this road. Talk about those murals. What does that mean to you to see, you know, that many come up in the city, and what do you hope to continue happening with those?
Well, actually, you know, and another reason for the murals, because people, you know, still keep, you know, have been saying to me over the last couple of months, that I feel like, you know, I've been putting in footwork, you know, we be out, you know, I've been passed out thousands of these flyers throughout the cities at different, but people still kept saying to me, I've never heard that story. I've never heard that story. So I was like, the murals is going to bring attention, you know, to, or bring awareness, you know, about who my son, because I feel like people here in Atlanta, they should know my son named Jamarion Robinson is the face of Georgia. My son, I mean, raise your hand if you know somebody that has a more than, you know, who has 40 to 50 bullet holes in their body. You couldn't even name a person or give me a person. You follow what I'm saying? So I said, you know what? Since y'all won't say his name, I'm going to make y'all see his face. I'm going to make y'all say his name, because they'll get on the news now. They'll say everybody else son name, except they'll bypass mine. How y'all gonna bypass mine? My son case is one of the most high profile cases that's sitting on the DA desk right now. And so during election time, I don't know if you watched a lot of the debate with the district attorneys. To me, their main argument was my son and these cases that they've been sitting on for 4 and 5 years. You follow what I'm saying? And so they've been kind of blaming, you know, when the news come on, you see the mayor, the DA, the GBI, they kept tossing back and forth who was at fault for these cases to drag out so long. And, you know, the district attorney, Paul Howard, was saying to me, oh, you know, it's like June the 2nd, he was saying, oh, there's nothing that I can do because those officers are protected by the federal government, because they were U.S. Marshals. So they're protected by the federal government. They were federal employees, is what he kept saying to me. So I dropped this letter to him, you know, this letter, which is like their office. And in this paragraph right here, it clearly states that they were not federal employees. So I clapped back with that, you know, with their oath of office, showing that they were not federal employees. Then after that, he came on the news saying, oh, because, you know, the news started saying, oh, he got over 40 something cases on, you know, really police brutality cases. He got over 40 something case on his desk right now. So they asked him, you know, after Rayshard Brooks killing, why haven't he moved forward on the cases that's been sitting there 2, 3, and 4 years? He said because there was no, and really they showed my son's case. Like when you watch the news, you can see Jamarion Robinson. His case was the one that was sitting on the desk right there. When they asked him why he haven't moved forward with, you know, my case, really, they was asking him about my case. He stated that there was no body camera. So I clapped back at that and I said, well, my son's body is the body camera.
Wow. Wow. Explain, when you say that, I've seen you out in the field holding these images of your son's body. Why do you say that, and what do you mean when you say that?
When I say that, I say, you know, when I say his body was the body camera, my son was shot 6 times in the palm of his right hand, 5 times in the palm of his left hand, all down his arms, his torso, his thighs, his groin, his shins, his feet. Why I gotta wake up with that every day? You know, why I have not had clothes. I can't even, like, you know, move forward or move on with my life, because I've been fighting this fight for 4 years. This has been my full-time job for 4 years. 4 years. I've been out here, like, demanding, you know, trying to get justice for my son for 4 years. Like 4 years. And before this, you know, I tell people, you know, I made a 6-figure income. I was good. We were fine. You know, I was good. You follow what I'm saying? And so now it's like I went from a 6-figure income to a 0 salary. You follow what I'm saying? With the false narrative, it's like no one came to assist me financially. So I've been having to struggle and make ends meet. You follow what I'm saying? And so, and it's okay because I've been, I've been making it happen. Let it do what it do. You hungry, you go over a friend's house and eat. You know what I mean? You do what you gotta do. But what? Because I can't go. And I've tried to get jobs throughout the 4 years, but once I be on the, how I be on the news and stuff a lot. I be on news a lot. And so when they see me on the news and people come in to work the next day, they be like, "Oh my God, that was your son. We saw you on the news." Da 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 da. About 2 or 3 days later, they released me from the job because I guess I'm like a liability. So that has happened to me like 2 or 3 times, and after that, I was like, "Okay, I'm done with that." You follow what I'm saying? Wow. And I was like, and you're not really in the right mind frame. Like, think about it. Who want, after your son was heinously killed like that, how you gonna sit on the job and act like you happy every day? You follow what I'm saying? Because you're not happy. You don't want people bothering you, worrying you, asking you questions, etc., etc. You follow me?
Yeah. Everyone that's watching this right now, you can feel Miss Robinson's pain and passion, and it's like you haven't stopped, and anybody that's watching this, I just ask you all, please rally around this mother, rally around Justice for Jamarion. Go follow them on Instagram. Go continue to sign petitions. Go donate to the GoFundMe that we'll have in the link in this caption, because every single step makes a difference. Call the mayor's office of Atlanta and leave a voicemail or an email telling them to do the right thing. Call the new district attorney, Fannie Willis, who's coming into office, so we can make sure that she's been held accountable. So if you are tuning in right now, if you have any words for this queen, please share them and we'll show them here as well, so she can read them. And there are a couple here. One from Macy Thompson, who says, "Mother of the movement, Queen Monteria." Absolutely, she is. She is a queen.
I love Macy. She's one of our mural artists. She did the one on MLK at Uppercuts barbershop. Wow. That one, yeah. Where we drilled on August the 5th, we did the unveiling of that one, and we drilled the 76 bullet holes in that mural.
I saw that was very beautiful and very powerful too. That symbolism. And Macy said, "Monteria, all my love to you," and of course, more hearts. Munit Mesfen Abebe, a long one here, but it says this is a tragic story. It is. This is heartbreaking. Courage to you, Mama Robinson. I can't imagine the pain you've gone through. Keep on fighting, but this shouldn't be this hard. So unjust. Please take care of yourself. Yes, we hope that you do take care of yourself, in this process. And thank you so much for that, Munit Mesfen Abebe. During this process as well, of course, there was a petition that was signed, that was started, and this petition is going to the White House, and it recently reached 100,000 signatures a week before its deadline. So talk about the impact of that petition and what happens next for anybody who wants to follow along.
Well, I do know that petition, they have 60 days, 60 days to respond to us. And basically, they just have to acknowledge, what happened to Jamarion. They are basically, I don't even know if I should call them the powers to be, but they have to take a look at my son's case, and they have like a 60-day grace period to do so. So they should. So I'm pretty sure what will probably happen, they probably go to BJ Pack's office, and then they'll be like, "Okay, we gotta." Why is this case still here? Why hasn't it? Because because it's 2 sides to the case. You got a criminal side and you got the civil side. And even the civil attorney is like, but you can't really, you're not supposed to do the civil case before the criminal case. But the civil case side, or the the civil judge. So you have a criminal side, which is the district attorney of Fulton County. Then you have the civil side, but you can't move forward with the civil side. You're supposed to wait for the criminal side to happen before you move forward with the civil side. But the civil judge is like, "I want this off my desk. Why has this been on my desk for 4 years?" You follow what I'm saying? But the thing is, they've been really waiting on the criminal prosecution. But you know how they say justice delayed is justice denied. You follow what I'm saying? And so I think that's another reason why the criminal side has been delayed. So that way you won't win your civil side, because it's a possibility if you don't have all your evidence, your facts, etc., it could be it's more stronger that you'll lose your civil side. But the evidence in my son case is so overwhelming. And what I just shared with you all, that's like just some of it. It gets worse than what I shared with you all. But I can't talk about it because it's a part of my deposition. But once my deposition is, I can't wait until all of that is done so I can share. I mean, you guys are going to be in shock. You know, you guys are going to be, you know, shocked with the rest of the story, you know, but it's so overwhelming. And it's like these, you know, they're gang members, you know, that's how I look at it, you know, in uniforms, you know, and just because they look like us does not mean that they're for us. You follow what I'm saying? So
I think there definitely needs to be accountability across the board because we don't see that. We don't see that in Atlanta. We don't see that in Georgia. We don't see that across the country. And I know that that's something that even with the petition is calling for, you know, even for them to wear body cameras on at all times.
Right.
Why do y'all own these expensive body cameras and then not have them on? So, you know, even in that case, it's just things like that that I feel like you're fighting for, of course, Jamarion Robinson, but so many other families as well who's impacted in this. When you think about, you know, justice, what does that mean to you? Because, you know, we say no justice, no peace, you know, what does justice mean for you right now?
Well, justice to me means you know, an indictment, a conviction, to be honest. You know, I want them, to me, I feel like it's a life for a life. Y'all took my son's life, then you guys need to go to prison for life. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You guys should go to prison, get the electric chair, because my son, you know, he had just began to live life. You know, I look at it like this, like, oh my God, it's like I'll never be able to meet my future grandkids. I'll never be able to meet his future wife, you know, and so they get to go home and hug and kiss their families and their wives and their children every single day. And it's like, I don't want nothing from them. I want my son back. If y'all can give me my son back, I'll go away. You follow what I'm saying? I will go away if y'all could just give me my son back.
I'm so sorry, Miss Robinson. And we are gonna everybody, please, you know, take a moment to just pray for this queen. Lift her up in your prayers. You know, we're here for you. We're here to fight with you. You are not alone. We will continue saying his name and sharing his story. Every single person that is watching this, please continue to stand tall with this queen right here. Macy shared this comment as well, saying, we are surrounding you in love, Monteria. And we absolutely are surrounding you in love right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. You don't have to be sorry. I mean, you don't have to be sorry at all. It is truly heartbreaking.
You know, I just like, my son was a human being. You know, he was a life. He was somebody. You know, he was a brother.
Yeah.
You know, he was a good kid. Like, he was a good son. He was a great son growing up. Like, I didn't have no issues, no problems with him. And for them to execute him in a manner that they did, you know what I mean? Like, they treated him, you know, worse than an animal. When people go hunting, you know, when you see people hunting, how many times do they shoot their target? One time. Why is that? To prevent from tearing the flesh of the animal. You don't shoot an animal over 50 times. My son didn't kill nobody. He didn't rape nobody. He didn't rob nobody. He didn't deserve that. And then they try to justify it. Like, they try to justify it to me. You can't justify shooting someone over 50 times. And I know my son complied, because my son, I always call him the speeding ticket king, because he always used to get speeding tickets because he has a motorcycle. And so all the times he was stopped by police, he always complied. But why on this day, y'all wouldn't say he had a shootout with police? We don't believe your false narratives. No, we don't. The community, if we don't see it on body camera, then we don't believe it, because we know y'all come with y'all false narrative. And it's the same three excuses. Oh, I was afraid for my life. Oh, he had a gun. Oh, it was a shootout. Oh, he was resisting arrest. You know, the same old narrative. And then they kill us. They execute us.
Just so many excuses, and so much to process here. And Miss Robinson, we just thank you for your strength and your courage. And as we, sort of come to the ending of this conversation, because I know there's so much more than even what you're sharing. I know you started the conversation talking about, how your son, who he was as a person. And I truly believe that, his spirit continues to live through you and through so many people that he touched. And we're getting to know him through you and everything in this. And as we continue to move forward, just to anyone watching, I would like to share some ways that people can fight, if that's okay. And if you have any,
please go ahead.
Okay, so if anybody watching this, there's a numerous ways that you can fight and support Ms. Robinson and this fight for justice for Jamarion Robinson. We just ask that you all, of course, follow Justice for Jamarion on Instagram, where they post constant updates. And on top of that, there is a GoFundMe page that is created that supports this fight for justice as well. So please, 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 please share that GoFundMe, contribute to that GoFundMe, and let's lift this family up in prayer. And on top of all that, and there are even shirts for sale. I'm wearing here today this Jamarion Robinson shirt. You can wear it on the back. It does say 76 bullets. As y'all know, there were 76 bullet wounds in this king's body that never should have happened. But this shirt does support this mission. So you can also get a t-shirt. And then on top of that, like I said earlier, you can contact the mayor's office, Mayor Keisha Bottoms. You can contact the district attorney's office, Fannie Willis, as she comes into this new role, and ask them to, prosecute the police, right? What else would you say to anyone watching in terms of how everyone can continue to fight?
And you all can also, too, we do have another petition on change.org. And that petition is also Justice for Jamarion. You can call, as you stated, the Fulton County DA office at 404-224-3230. Again, that number is 404-224-3230. And you can follow me on all social media outlets on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. My GoFundMe, they're all Justice for Jamarion, as well as my website. You can go there for more information. That's justiceforjamarion.org. So all my social media platforms are Justice for Jamarion whatever the social media platform is. So they're all Justice for Jamarion. My GoFundMe is Justice for Jamarion as well. And my website is justiceforjamarion.org. So, and Jamarion is spelled Jamarion. And I'm on all social media platforms as well. Monteria Robinson. I'm on all platforms, social media platforms as Monteria Robinson. I think you all can see my name right here in the caption. That's MONTERIA. And my goal this year is to make Jamarion name a household name. I want the world to know my son's name by the end of this year. December 2020, I said my goal is to make every household in America know who Jamarion Robinson was and what happened to him. You also got to remember too, like I always say, my grandparents, we had Emmett Till. My parents' generation, we had Mark Clark and Fred Hampton. My generation, we had Rodney King. And in the 21st century generation, you have Jamarion Robinson, who is the Emmett Till of the 21st century. So, so this has been going on. War has been waged against us, and it has been going on for, quite some time. And people keep saying, we're at war. No, we're not, because we're not fighting back. So we're not at war, So, and it's time that, they, hold these officers accountable. People keep saying, the main thing that needs to be done away with is this qualified immunity. Are you familiar with that? Basically it allows police officers to kill us with no accountability. So this law needs to, we need this law to be put in place. It needs to be done away with, allowing officers. I was reading something where someone sent me something earlier on Messenger where, 3 officers' body cameras was on. Like, people are sharing it now, like all over social media. And they were talking about, it was 3, white officers, and they were talking about how they're ready for it to be a revolution so they can kill more, and then they call us the N word. So, how they say one bad apple spoils the bunch is spoiled. So I think, it needs to be abolished. The police, it needs to be abolished, because to me, it's like, they say you have some good ones, you have some bad ones, but the good ones are not going to stand up when the ones are doing bad.
And let's not forget about the system, right? The system itself is flawed. And so when you look at how it's built, this it wasn't built for us, right? So we definitely have a lot of changes, a lot of things that we need to continue pushing for, continue fighting for, continue working on. Everybody who is tuning in here as well, if you are still in here, go ahead and drop some hearts for this queen, Miss Robinson. If you are still in here, or you can even share a comment, I'll share them here on the page so we can all see your love as we continue to wrap, because definitely want to end on a note of just love and knowing that this isn't easy, y'all. Y'all are listening to this, y'all are hearing this. This is not like, families can't just forget about this after a month or two. This is something that impacts so many people beyond beyond just one protest, right? So
and it impacts your friends too as well. I mean, like, even like Jamarion friends, my friends, and people who I've met over the last couple of years. I always say, well, me, or my family, Jamarion Robinson, because when you see my face or you hear my voice, it's the voice and face of Jamarion Robinson. So when people meet my family, they have fun with us. We do a lot of different things together. But people who know me and they see how I'm affected, they be affected too. Even people who I've met recently, like you all, how you all, we all be out in the community and different. It affects not only me, it affects you all too, because it worries you all, it stress you all out. It's like, you all be worried about me, and then I be worried about y'all. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's a domino effect. So it's a lot.
It is a lot. But we are in this together, and we are here in any way we can support. You are always welcome to join our conversations here. We call these our community conversations, as y'all know. So anytime, you're always welcome. And just to show you some of the comments here, Monique Musman said, "Courage to you. Please take care of your heart, your body, and mind." Yes. Debbie Lemlem sent a lot of hearts here. Thank you. Macy Thompson. Jamarion lives on. He has changed my life, as have you. We are committed.
Oh, thank you, Macy.
Thank you, Macy. On that note, Miss Robinson, we just want to say thank you for your time. We want to let you know.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Please continue to pray for me and my family. Yes. We can use the prayers.
We will absolutely lift you in prayer, Queen. And we are here. Call, text, Facebook Live away in any way we can be.
And so I look forward to coming back when, we get more information. And, I'll see you too. So I'll let you know, hey, it's time to do another live feed. I got the rest of that information for you.
Whatever you want. Anything.
So definitely.
Anything. And we love you. And as I just want to comment.
I love you guys too as well.
One more time. Thank you, Macy, for this. We'll end with this again. Jamarion lives on. He has changed my life, as have you. We are committed. I like that where she said we are committed, because we are committed. And God bless you, Queen.
Because I can't do this by myself. I can't do it by myself.
Yes. So you guys stay in this. The fight is not over. We will continue to fight with our dear sister, this queen, Monteria Robinson, the mother of Jamarion Robinson. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this conversation, being present with us, being vulnerable with us. And thank you, Monteria, for your courage, for your fight, and for all of your love during this time. We appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all next time. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank